Hey everybody, today is day one of our anxiety release challenge, and welcome to this class. Hope you guys get a ton of value and benefit from these classes that we're going to be doing all week long. They will start at noon Mountain Standard Time inside of this private Facebook group. So welcome. If you guys are just joining us, please jump on and type something into the chat box. Let me know that you're here, and then we'll just gonna jump right in and get started. So I want to show you a picture first of all, and then if you guys have this handy, I posted a homework assignment in a PDF form inside of the group in the Files tab. If you still have not gone through that homework assignment, I highly recommend that you do that. Hey Gina, glad that you're here and glad that you are ready. Ton of information that I don't want to unleash the fire hydrant because you've asked for a drink. Hi Sabrina, glad that you're joining us. But I do want to give you guys some really valuable tools and things that you can do to start changing this really radically right now. Anxiety is, it's becoming more and more prevalent in our culture that we live in right now, and it's frustrating. And so I do have some tools that I would like to share with you today and throughout the course of this next week that will really help. Hey Gail, hi Kim, glad you guys are all jumping on. Hi Scott, if I missed saying hi to you, I apologize. Angie, glad that you're here. I want to show you guys a picture, so let me start by, can you see my computer screen? I want you to just take a look at that. This is the picture or the image that came up when I Googled the different causes of anxiety. This happened a long time ago, and I was like, whoa, she looks like me. That's exactly how I feel. And this was years ago. It's in the, if you look up, I think causes of anxiety on Wikipedia, you'll see this image. Now, the reason why this image is so important to take a look at is look at the woman's face. Look at her hair. Look at how tired she looks. She's probably tired because she's not had a really good deep sleep in years. Her face looks really gaunt. Her eyes sunken in to the head. She's exhausted, right? She's exhausted. Do you guys ever feel the way that this image? I really, honestly, I did feel like that in my 20s and 30s. I felt like I looked like that. I probably didn't look like that, but I felt that way. I tell people all the time that I used to go to bed at night, and when I'd wake up in the morning, I felt like I was in more of a deficit of energy and vitality and sleep than I was the night before when I went to bed. So that's a frustrating place to live. It's a frustrating thing to have to go through and feel. Now, many people who experience anxiety feel very helpless. They feel very hopeless. They feel as if they have no control over this problem. They feel like a lack of self-control, right? Personal power. And they feel like they're a victim to what's going on in their body. So I want to talk about that today. Step one today, you'll notice, let me pull up the PDF homework assignment that I gave you guys. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that. Before we get to the actual triggers, I want to scroll back. This is my computer. And we're going to go to the disclaimer. This is your handout, by the way. If you didn't get it and you haven't printed it off, please go to the Files section and print this off. Also, my disclaimer, I am not a doctor, you guys. I don't diagnose and treat, but I am going to show you some really powerful things that you can do to gain more personal power. I'm super excited to share with you what I've observed and learned over the years as a quantum healing practitioner. I work in the field of energy release. That's my area of focus, actually. Where I got started was in anxiety and depression. And I worked mostly with women for years and years. I've looked at hundreds of different cases of women and people who struggle with depression and anxiety. And I've kind of observed some similarities and some patterns over the years, and also had some very amazing results and effectiveness with what I teach. My program was featured on over 365 news media platforms all over the web, including ABC, CBC, NBC, CNN, and Fox. And so I'm really excited to get to share this with you guys. Normally, this program that I'm sharing with you today, it sells for over $1,000 on the internet, and it has helped hundreds of people release the causes and the effects of their anxiety in their life. It's changed people's lives, and so I'm excited to get to share this with you for a very limited time. These videos that go up will be available for only 24 hours, so you're going to definitely want to watch the replays if you missed the live version of it. So just to let you know, millions of people are suffering with this debilitating and frustrating condition of anxiety. A lot of people also experience depression. It kind of goes hand in hand. The two are linked. So if you have had anxiety or panic attacks in the past and you do experience some depression, it could be vice versa. You might have the emphasis in depression with bouts of panic attacks and worry and stress. So in my opinion, and this is what we're going to talk about today, is awareness. Awareness is the number one most powerful tool that you have when it comes to conquering your anxiety. It is literally the first step. If you don't take care of this first step, you're not going to experience the release and the results that you're looking for. It's not a huge step, but I think it is by far the most powerful thing that you can do to engage in your healing journey. It might not seem like very much, but without awareness, you will always remain a victim to your symptoms. So this is also a list of some of the symptoms that you guys experience as you're dealing with anxiety. Some of you have more than one, some of you have all. Some of you have just maybe one or two of these symptoms that go along with anxiety. And we're not going to go over all of that. You can pull up your notes and read that. I want to get right into helping you find a way to release and clear this problem in your life. So one thing that would be beneficial is, as you scroll through this homework assignment, check off the symptoms that are most applicable to you. Okay? Looks like I'm missing. Sabrina says, I had a hard time choosing so many, and I wasn't sure where to even start. Which one is most important? Anger, irritability, and fatigue are the main ones. They fall into various spots on the list. Yeah. Okay, so you know what? A lot of people, when I looked through this list, I had most of these symptoms. Mine was rooted in depression because I kind of have a tendency to be lacking in energy. But a lot of people don't realize that women and men who suffer from anxiety can also be extremely fatigued and exhausted. Some people think that anxiety is just too much energy going on. That isn't always the case. So just check mark the symptoms that you do have. We're just opening up awareness for what's going on in your body and why this is happening. Once you've checked those off, you're going to just put a little star by the ones that you feel are probably the most debilitating, the most problematic in your life. So extreme panic attacks, that's going to be a pretty big one. And the lack of sleep is going to be a big one. Being apologetic, maybe not so huge, you know? So you go through and put a little star by the ones that you feel are totally disabling your life. That should help. Hey, Shauna. Hey, Melanie. Glad you guys are on here. Let's move on down to this page. Step 2, the possible triggers for anxiety. I want to go over this. I'm not going to go into it too deep because you guys can do this on your own, and I want to spend as much of the time in this class as we can actually giving you some tools to help you move in the direction where you need to move to get relief and to release some of these problems. Before we actually go into the triggers, let me go over here really quickly. I put together just a small little PowerPoint to help me stay on task here. Awareness. We did talk about how awareness is the number one most important part of healing and releasing the root causes and triggers to your anxiety. And here's why. You are being invited to wake up. Most traumatic illnesses, most real extreme illnesses in your body, not just anxiety, but most of all kinds of illnesses that you're experiencing, is a form of a wake-up call. It's an opportunity for you to wake up spiritually. So if you've gone through a trauma, an illness, maybe some sort of adversity that you've been experiencing, it's educating your soul. You need to be aware that that's what's going on. Once you understand that, and you open up awareness to how is this educating me, then we can really go in the right direction to clearing and releasing it. Also, everything happens by law, not by chance. And I mean everything that happens in your life happens to you by law, not by chance. It is your actual duty to learn to understand the laws that made your life this way. It's your duty to understand, open up awareness, and gain an understanding of what the laws are that you are interacting with, I guess, tethered to. What laws have you stepped into? Also, this is one of those laws. Thoughts are causes. Conditions are effects. Does that make sense? Your thoughts lie at the root of what causes your external conditions in your body and in your life. The condition is just the effect of where you've been thinking. Hey, Bonnie, welcome to the class. Hi, you are such a wonderful woman. Thank you. Appreciate that. Remember, thoughts are causes, conditions are effects. So the panic attack is the effect, the sleeplessness is the effect, the heart racing, the palpitations, the shortness of breath, those are all the effects. Your thoughts are helping to cause those effects. Our thoughts are always the primary cause to the conditions or the effects. Always, always, always. That is by law. Everything that we are today is the sum total of what we have once thought. Hey, there we are again. Let me turn around. Also, we're gonna go back over to, if you guys will pull out your PDF, the assignment that I gave you, pull out that PDF, and we're gonna just go through it really quickly. Let me turn my screen around just a sec. Okay, here we go. The possible triggers to your anxiety. Number one, you have suppressed spiritual gifts. Now, these 10 possible triggers have come as a result of, I can't tell you how many years, probably 10 to 15 years of working with clients who suffer with depression and anxiety. And these are at the top of my list of the things that affected most of the people most of the time. Okay. Spirit energy is very subtle. I like to call it your sixth sense or your felt sense. It is far different from the 5 physical senses in your body. It does not require any of the 5 physical senses to be present in order for you to tap into your sixth sense. And your sixth sense basically is this. Your body has 5 physical senses, while your spirit also has multiple ways to sense information coming in. So what is the felt sense? Just as your physical body and your mind have the 5 physical senses as a means and a way to interface with this physical dimension in order to process information, you also have those senses of spirit. And so how do those senses work? Those sensations come to you through the imagination, the intuition, through promptings and nudges and subtle feelings and impressions. A lot of people use the terminology of spirit. I mean, that's you connecting with the spirit dimension, with the Holy Spirit. Some people believe that we access the spirit, if you're a religious person, the spirit of the Holy Ghost through these channels. It is through these senses of the spirit that you access that information. It's divine information. It comes not from this physical world. It comes from a totally different dimension. And so if you want to access that dimension, then you access through imagination, intuition, promptings, nudges, subtle feelings, internal non-tangible knowings, deep feelings, even thoughts. Pretend, play, curiosity, wonder. All of those things help to open up that channel. And you'll notice that little children have all of this stuff. They're very wide awake spiritually because they just came from that dimension and they haven't really been fully adopted or initiated into this physical realm yet. When spiritual energy begins to flow, you will know how to interpret and understand it by learning how to understand the way in which you process this stuff. Now, everybody's different. Why am I talking about this? One of the big reasons why people have anxiety is because information is trying to come through from that spirit dimension and it can't. Why can't it do that? It can't do it because you're blocking it somehow. For some reason, you have tapped only into the 5 physical senses and you are somehow, some way ignoring these nudges that are coming to you, information that wants to come to you and through you through the spiritual dimension. A lot of people have this information come through visions, dreams, images, metaphors, archetypes and symbols, vibrations, frequencies, feelings. I'm going to even throw in thoughts and sensations. Have you guys ever been, humming along in your life nicely and you had this very subtle thought or impression, oh, hey, I probably should do this, or I probably should turn and go there, or I probably should pick up the phone and call so-and-so. And you either follow through on those impressions or those thoughts, or you ignore them and push them away. And then you realize later, after hindsight, that by pushing those things away, those nudges, you missed out on something really important that could have, helped you, guided you, blessed your life in some way. So we've got to learn how to develop our spirit senses and develop our own system for discerning this stuff. Everybody has their own unique way of feeling it and experiencing it, and you know what way it works best for you. Some people are very visionary. Some people feel the presence of other spirits or beings around them in their life, and other people see them literally. Some people can even see it with their literal eyes. That's very, very rare, but it does happen. And I think one of the reasons why this is happening so much more in our society today is because our planet is changing, our planet is shifting. We are being invited to wake up. We're being invited to wake up spiritually and to shift in a new way of processing, thinking, and perceiving the world around us. We're being invited to wake up to what's real. Stifling and swallowing and suppressing this stuff can and does and will make you very, very sick. If you do stifle this stuff, it can lead to severe panic attacks, worry, fear, anxieties of all kinds. Many people who have powerful gifts of the spirit find that when they open up themselves to the flow of this information and just allow it to be so within them and begin to acknowledge and express it, the symptoms of anxiety go away because they have transcended that problem and become a person who no longer requires these symptoms anymore to get their attention. Now, the only reason why you're experiencing panic and worry and anxiety and depression in whatever form you're experiencing it is by law. You have stepped into a law that allows for that. And number 2, there's something going on within your body and within your spirit that is being suppressed. And so we've got to get to the root of that and find out the different ways that we can shift and change it. So notice these things. Have you ever had frequent dreams or promptings or impressions before major events in your life? Give me some feedback if this is you. If you guys relate or resonate with any of this stuff. Have you ever felt or seen the presence of deceased loved ones or spirits around you? Have you ever heard warnings or impressions in your mind? Have you ever seen images or metaphors or little movies that go on in your mind's eye, and wondered what that was about? For the longest time when I was a really little kid, I used to, the minute that my head would hit the pillow and I'd close my eyes, I could see images, and I could even see people's faces, people that I didn't even know who they were. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Why am I seeing people in my mind and I don't even know who they are? I don't know why they're here. I don't know why I'm seeing them. I don't connect with them in any way. I don't know who they are. As I've learned how to develop that, now I can see it in my waking mind's eye, and I know how to ask the right questions now to discern what is in that for me. So you guys are all giving me yeses. Yes, you're having these experiences. You have had these experiences. Your dad came to you. Shauna, good. Smells. Okay, so Gina has smells. Yeah, interesting. Isn't that fascinating? You know, I was working with a client one time, and she all of a sudden smelled gingerbread cookies. And I said, what in the world? I said to her, what does that remind you of? And she said, it reminds me of my grandmother. And the interesting thing about that experience was that in that moment, we were processing some things that kind of connected her, I guess, to her grandmother. She was experiencing some of the same emotional difficulties and challenges that needed to be transcended in her life, the same challenges that her grandmother had gone through. And her grandmother used to always bake her snickerdoodle cookies. So at the end of the session, she could smell snickerdoodles. Why is that? Probably because her deceased loved one was there in the room assisting and helping and supporting and showing that, you know what, we're not that far away. We're not far off, and we have a vested interest in your healing and in your learning of this stuff. We want to help. And so they're just trying to get your attention to show you that they're there. Let's see. Melanie has the empathic ones. Yeah. You can tell if you're an empath because you will definitely, empaths tend to feel things more than they do seeing things, but you'll feel people's emotions. You'll sometimes even feel their thoughts in your mind. How do you tell the difference? This is Sabrina. How do you tell the difference by seeing the third eye or a dream? So it's basically a little mind movie, Sabrina, in your mind's eye. Sometimes when you first are getting started in developing these spiritual abilities, or they're not really abilities, everybody has this. Everybody has all of these abilities. But as you're learning how to develop how they work for you, they're basically the senses, just like your 5 physical senses. How do you learn how to develop your hearing and your eyesight? Well, you can do exercises to help train you at hearing things better. Getting very still, listening and looking and observing and becoming aware. Isn't that interesting that that is the whole key issue to this day one? You've got to learn how to start becoming more and more aware. Third eye versus a dream. So as you start to develop this a little bit more, you can start by closing your eyes and just seeing what images, metaphors, archetypes, or little mind movies come up in my mind. Do I see faces? Do I see colors or shapes? Do I see symbols or images? One time I was really struggling with something and I kept seeing this rabbit in my mind. As I closed my eyes, the first thing I could see was a white rabbit. I was like, I don't even know what that means. It doesn't mean anything to me. And so something prompted me to go over to Google and just type in the search bar, what is the symbolic meaning of white rabbit? It had to do with abundance and prosperity, which was the exact issue that I was working on in my life in that moment. So you know what? You never know what information is there. Don't cast it out just because you don't get it. Just be willing to be open to the awareness. As you get good at seeing it with your eyes closed, then you can open your eyes and it'll be more of a felt sense than it will be a visionary experience. So when you see through the third eye and your eyes are open, you'll basically see things in your mind, in your mind's eye. You'll imagine them. It'll be a little bit like daydreaming. Sometimes when you daydream, your eyes are open and you're kind of having this little movie or this little experience in your mind while the eyes are open. So daydreaming is a great way to develop this. Hey Karen, how are you? Says, yes, smells and intuitive feelings. Gina says, I smell rich dirt and pansies. She worked in the garden. Fascinating. So Gina, pay attention to that. When you smell things, sometimes you'll even hear I get this a lot now that I've started to develop these senses, but I hear pretty loud and clear, distinct messages come through sometimes as I'm dreaming or as I'm just noticing or being aware of what's going on in my mind's eye. I will actually hear either warnings or information or specific words that will come through, and sometimes I'll have to do a little bit of digging to understand fully what that means for me. Bonnie says, I see colors in my third eye, so I balance my chakras and they become more vivid and calm. Okay, awesome. Good job, you guys. Other questions that you might want to ask, you guys can go through these on your own. Are you intuitive? Do you feel you're being guided somehow? Are you an empath? Do you feel other people's feelings and sense things? You know, I have a client that I work with, every time she goes to a family function, she said, I can feel people's thoughts. I can actually even feel and discern what's going on in their lives. So she said she has a brother-in-law who was being unfaithful to her sister, to his wife. And she said, I knew that it was happening. I could see it in my mind's eye. And she said, I knew. And she said several months later, he came forward and kind of announced it to his wife, and she announced it to the family that he had been having an affair. And she said, I knew way before the information ever came out, because she says, I'm an empath. I feel it. I felt it, then I sensed it, then I saw it in my mind. So the more that you're willing to become more aware of these kinds of things, the better you will develop the sensations of it. Number 2, we got to move on. Number 2 is energy blocks. Sometimes you will experience panic and anxiety, attacks of whatever kinds. Maybe you're having not good sleep, or maybe you're having any of those symptoms on the list that we talked about because of environment. Toxins, electromagnetic frequencies can get in your way, and they can block the flow of energy. Many times what I see in my practice is that if you have stored unprocessed emotional pains from your past, in other words, if you still hold on to memories and there's an emotional spike behind those memories that either hurts you deeply or feels not very good, it feels really heavy, then that's a pretty good indicator that the feelings around those memories or those experiences have not been processed properly, and you need to go back and do the inner work in order to open up the flow again. It'll dam up the flow of energy. Now, something to remember is that spirit energy does flow through your, not necessarily just your body alone, but it flows through you. It flows in and around and throughout your entire being all of the time. And it's not random. It follows a course of order. So there are pathways and vectors. Just like blood flows through your veins, there are pathways and vectors. How do we know this? Because the Chinese have been studying this for thousands of years, and they have identified those pathways of energetic flow. We also know that in India, for thousands of years, they have been studying the energy centers. Wherever those pathways of energy flow intersect, they also create this swirling movement, or like a ball of energy, almost like a vortex, and we call those the chakras. There's so many different ways that you can look at the energy in the body and see where it's going and what it's doing. So we can interact with the meridians of the body, which are just energy pathways and vectors. Sometimes those pathways get blocked by toxins, by electromagnetic frequencies that are interfering. So interference would be from maybe cell phones, microwaves, high-powered radio stations that are broadcasting out high frequencies that can mess with the frequency of the energy in your body. You are electromagnetic in nature, the energy of you is. And so sometimes this technology that we have to work around and interface with on this planet can mess up the flow of the energy in our own bodies, and it can make our physical bodies actually sick. So your body was made to flow. If you think about your physical body, it's just a series of tubes, right? You are a series of tubes. You can breathe through those tubes. You can swallow and digest food through those tubes. blood flows through the tubes, a digested food flows through those tubes, and stuff comes into the body and it goes right on out of the body. And we are designed to flow. Just like your physical body is designed to flow. Stuff comes in, it should go right back out. If it doesn't, then there's a problem, there's a blockage, something is damned. And the principle is the same for your energy body. So if you have energetic blockages, either in the spirit body or in the physical body itself, you will feel the effects. It can make you sick. So notice, do you feel heavy? Do you feel clunky? Do you feel lethargic, tired, unmotivated? Do you carry tension and stiffness in your body? Do you repeat old patterns and problems over and over in your body and in your life? Do you experience chronic pain or discomfort? So look at that. Take note. If the symptoms are physical, there's a really good chance that you have some energetic stuff going on. Number 3, the third reason that I've seen as I've worked with people and witnessed how anxiety works and how it is healed and cleared, this is probably one of the more common ones that keeps coming up. And I don't know why it's becoming more common, but it is. And it's something that you need to be aware of if you're experiencing anxiety in any way, shape, or form. And that is psychic or energetic attack. Beings and or personages from the spirit dimension who live in darker, heavier realms can, and they do, try to overpower you. They want to control and manipulate, or in most cases take energy from you in order to get relief from their own misery. You know, depending on what your religious stance is, some people do call these familiar spirits. What is the definition of familiar spirits? Familia is family. So sometimes our deceased relatives who were maybe a little lost or misguided or suffering in a lot of agony and torment and pain in this life, they will continue to torment their progenitors. They will continue to torment their family members all the way down the family line until somebody awakens, figures it out, and heals it, because they're looking for healing. They will bully you, badger you. They'll badger their way in unannounced and uninvited. They don't care one bit about your right to choose. They are starkly different from angelic and heavenly beings who walk in the highest realms of light. Excuse me. These light beings are there to serve you, to assist and guide you, and to instruct you in your life's path. They're different than darker beings. They love you. They want to help you. They will never, ever force their way in or upon you, and they will always wait for your requests and invitations before interfering with your life. Let me share a story with you. This is how I can tell. So I had a family member, a deceased family member, come to me. It was a great grandfather on my dad's side, came to me one time, and I didn't know who it was in the moment. But this is how you can tell the difference between a familiar spirit who wants to take something from you and a familiar spirit who, or just an angelic spirit, I guess, we'll call them angels, who is respectful and mindful of your space and your energy and your agency, and they will never force their way in. And let me define this for you. I'll give you an example. I had my deceased relative that came to me. Was not a familiar spirit. He wasn't here to bully me or badger me or take something. He wanted healing. He was looking for some assistance in his healing journey, and he knew that I knew how to process this stuff, the emotional garbage and baggage from his lifetime. And he sensed that I could possibly potentially help him, and so he came to me. And this is what he did. All day long, I was home alone. My kids were all at school. Everybody's at work. All day long, I could feel this presence following me around. And it didn't feel scary or frightening. It just felt normal. Here, let me turn this back. That's better. So I can tell you my story. It didn't feel like an attack of any kind. It just felt normal, like a normal presence, right? And I didn't feel afraid, anything like that, but I did literally feel like there was this tall male figure standing behind me, breathing down my neck, like just waiting, following me around. And it didn't go away. It ended up being all day long. And it never did go away. Finally, by the end of the day, I finally sat down at my piano on my piano bench, and I was like, what? What do you want? I turned around and just said, what do you want? Why are you following me? And immediately when I asked, what do you want? I felt feelings. I felt his feelings come into my body. And now that wasn't because he was throwing them into my body. It was because I was now picking up on his energy. I could feel that he was distraught. I could feel that he was in some pain, some mental and emotional pain. And I could feel that there were unresolved issues that he really needed help healing. And so he came and asked for help. And so I stepped into my office where I'm at now, and I sat down and I just began to process and clear and release, and process and clear and release, process and clear and release, all this heavy, dark stuff coming up through my body. And when I was done, I felt better. I felt like he basically said thank you, goodbye, and I felt this warm, I don't know, embrace of just love flow through my body, almost like a hug. And then the presence left. And when I came out of my office, somebody had grabbed a book off of the bookshelf right by as I step out of my office, it goes into my kitchen. And someone had placed a book there on the countertop with this image, the image of someone's face. I don't have it with me right now, but I would show you. And it happened to be his life history book. His name is Aaron Johnson. And it was his life history book, and his face is big and bold on the back side of that book. And no one ever gets that book out to read it or use it. Somebody had put it on the counter for some reason, I don't know why, and that face was looking right at me the minute I stepped out of my kitchen. And I went and kind of knelt down and prayed and asked for confirmation. Is this who it was? Yes, the answer was yes, this is who it was. So it's interesting, he didn't bully his way in. He didn't try to force the issue. He didn't try to get something from me. He waited for me to ask, what do you want? What are you here for? And then that was when the information came forward. So something for you guys to pay attention to, because if you're feeling all of a sudden, let's say you're going through life and your day is pretty normal and you feel pretty good, but then all of a sudden, out of the blue, out of nowhere, now you feel like this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde experience has come over you, and you are in a state of panic or worry or fear, or maybe you're agitated or angry or lashing out at somebody. All of a sudden, you don't have any idea why you're doing that. There's a couple of different things that could cause that. Number one, you may have been attacked by an entity or a dark being who wants something from you. Number two, you might be an empath and you might be picking up on somebody else's emotions and taking them on and carrying them around as your own. So those are two different things that you might definitely want to look at. If you experience trauma or drama, especially as a little child in your life, and your abuser, someone older than you, or someone who had control or power over you was projecting their pain onto you, and you took that pain on, it's really difficult to let that go. And until you put awareness there and you know what it's about, then you can heal it. But awareness is the first step. If you don't have awareness of what's going on and why it's there, you're going to have a hard time healing it. Here's another little story. If you're an empath, you'll probably be able to relate to this. One time, my husband came home from work and he had an unusually very stressful day, feeling a lot of anxiety and lots of just worry about his business. And I had made dinner. After dinner, the kids and my husband went outside and they were sitting around the fire pit just kind of roasting marshmallows and looking at the fire, and he was laying on a blanket. And I looked out the window, and the first thought that came to my mind was, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to just love on him. I'm going to snuggle up to him on the blanket and just go be by the fire with him. And I just had this feeling that I wanted to go be with him. And so I went outside and I laid down next to him on the blanket, and I put my head right on his chest and just loving on him. And immediately my body filled up with all these feelings of worry and agitation and fear and anger. And I started noticing I was getting really snappy with people, responding in not a very nice way. And all of a sudden I thought to myself, what is going on? Like I wasn't feeling like this 5 minutes ago. Now all of a sudden I am being this total jerk to everybody. I don't know what's going on. I'm feeling all these feelings. And so I stood up and I walked it off for a minute. And then I heard in my mind, it's not yours. Let it go. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. And so I realized, oh my gosh, I am an empath. I'm picking up on my husband's emotions and feelings and sensations in his body, and I started carrying those around as if they were mine. Definitely something to watch for. So you could be picking up on the energetic field of someone else, either living or deceased. So you got to notice. So let's kind of talk about what the things are that you're going to notice. Shauna says, I wish I would have thought to ADK. What to ask, what do you want? About 4 years ago, I felt my parents, my mom's parents, and my husband. I couldn't figure out why all of them were there. And I can't see the rest of your comment, darn it. Interesting. Yeah, these are powerful questions to ask. Now, the thing about asking the questions, guys, is this. When you ask the questions, when you ask these questions, it's important that you set the intention that I choose to only connect with beings who walk in God's highest light. I choose to only connect with beings who walk in the highest light. Okay. So notice, do your panic attacks and states of worry and fear come on suddenly and without notice? Do you feel less and less like yourself, especially when these attacks come on? Do other people notice that this is not like you? Does your body have uncontrollable urges and desires that weren't there before? Are you edgy, mean, manipulative, and out of sorts? Do you feel dark and heavy inside? Do you have symptoms that go away for a short time, but they always seem to come back? That was what happened to me. They'll come back with vengeance. And that typically means you need to do some soul work and you need to cast these beings or these energies out of your body because it's not serving you. If this is you, you could be dealing with energetic parasites, vampires, or hitchhikers or attackers. The second way that you can be triggered by anxiety is toxic poisoning. It matters what you put into and onto your body. Sometimes when we've been overly exposed to chemicals and poisons from products and from processed foods, it can enter our chemistry and affect our brain health and our ability to process normal situations. So think about that. You'll know, I worked with a lady not very long ago who said, every time I have a panic attack, it usually happens right after I have just eaten gluten or wheat. And so I said to her, that's definitely something that you need to work on. And it's not just about stopping eating gluten. You can actually clear and release the root causes to your allergies. Did you guys know that? So the way that anxiety was affecting me personally was I had a gluten intolerance, an allergy to gluten, and there was an emotional and mental root, an energetic root to that gluten allergy. Once I went in and cleared and released that emotional component to the gluten allergy, the anxiety went away as well as the allergy. So it's definitely something that you guys are going to want to look at. Look at whether or not you have food allergies that are known. How are you reacting to your foods? Maybe keep a journal and write down how you feel an hour after you eat specific foods. If you feel like some of the foods in your diet are very suspect and you know for sure that every time you eat them, it's going to put you in a coma, or, well, you feel really tired and fatigued and lethargic and exhausted, then you definitely need to look at that food. How is that food triggering you? And we can actually clear and release the allergy to the food. I'll be teaching you that a little bit later. Most likely everybody is going to have this trigger, toxic poisoning. The next one is parasites. When the gut is not healthy, you are not healthy. As with most diseases, if you can heal the gut, you can heal just about anything in your body. And a lot of people even say, gut health experts will even tell you that the digestive system is your second brain. And it can actually take over your personality. It can take over your thoughts and your ability to process normal daily life. So if you suffer from uncontrollable urges, addictions, desires, have abdominal cramps or digestive issues, maybe it's a hard time, you have a hard time bringing your weight into a healthy balance, you're either over or under. If your belly sticks out, you have skin rashes, eyes bother you, itching, and tingling. So some of that can be parasites, but it can also mean that you may also have energetic parasites, which are, from that other dimension. So take a look at that. A lowered immune system is always going to affect this. If you're a person with a weakened immune system and you are vulnerable to pretty much everything else that everybody else is passing around, colds, illnesses, flu, bugs, or parasites, you definitely need to take some measures to improve the immune health, and I will be teaching you how to do that. Number 7, unhealthy thought, emotion, and belief patterns. Now, these things can happen when your diet's not well, when your gut is not healthy, when you're experiencing parasites, or when you're experiencing psychic attack. So just know that those things can all influence this trigger here, unhealthy thought, emotion, and belief patterns. All of those things are energy. They hold a specific frequency depending on how well you process them. And if you remember, these are laws of health. The symptoms of panic and anxiety in the body is not happening to you because you're just a victim to something random that came along. It's happening by law and not by chance. Okay, so you just need to understand, what is the law? I mean, what is it that I've stepped into? And once you understand that you can control the causes, then you understand you can change the effects in your body. Again, you can control these causes. And if you understand that and learn to be aware of what's causing these things, then you can regain your own personal power and you can change the effects that these causes are having on your body. So we're not going to get too deep into those. Number 8, the lower heart chakra and solar plexus might have an imbalance. So that's definitely something that you can look at. And here are some questions to help you probe a little better. Number 9, lacking coping skills. I told you earlier that I went to my daughter's freshman orientation on her college campus. And the doctor said there that anxiety was the number one thing that they treat in the clinic there. And he said he believed that it was because a lot of these youth and teenagers that are coming to school have no idea how to cope with life in general. And, being in college is very stressful, especially if you're in a really difficult program. Holy cow. My son's going through the engineering program right now, and the stress load on his physical body and his mentality and psyche is unreal. It's unreal what these kids go through to get themselves through college. And as a result of that, they're sacrificing their good health to get through school. It is kind of sad. Okay. The next one is you can't live in the present. Eckhart Tolle says he calls it being in the now. And many people worry and fret about the future because of the pains of the past. If you worry a lot about your future, you worry about what's coming, what's not coming, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. If you do that a lot, it's because you are not living in the present moment. You are controlled by the fear of the future based on the pains that you've had in the past. When we live in either one of these non-existent places, you are going to feel anxiety and fear and discomfort. It's not going to feel good, and it's not a very fun way to live your life. The solution then is to be in the present moment. Most people have no clue how to do that. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. When a person gets yanked out of the present moment or the now, it will always feel uncomfortable to them. It will always produce problems and symptoms in your body. You will either feel pain and suffering from your past, or you will feel worry and fear for your future because of what took place in the past. And sometimes, you know what, your past can be this movie or that book or this article that I read. That's your past, right? So you can feel fear of the future based on the pains of the past, even by media that you allow yourself to dwell on. Neither of those two places have any power in your life at all because they don't really exist. The past is over, it's gone, and the future will never come. So you just need to kind of learn how to get deep into your body and be in the present moment. So moving forward in the next few days, I'm gonna teach you some tools, and I'm gonna also cause you to think about these triggers in a deeper way. So in quantum healing, we don't deal with the actual physical symptoms themselves. We look at the possibilities of, what is it that caused these symptoms in the first place? And how can I evolve past these issues? How can I become a person who no longer requires this problem? So I invite you to consider the following questions as we move in that direction of your evolution. Who would you need to become in order to not have this anxiety in your life anymore? Who are you being with anxiety? Who would you be without it? What benefits are you receiving by having it? And does anxiety allow you to avoid something uncomfortable in your life? Are you getting something out of it? Is it distracting you from seeing what you don't want to see? Let me give you an example of that. I had a woman come to me with anxiety one time. We cleared and released the root effects of the anxiety. It had kind of traced all the way back to a specific memory or a phobia that she was dealing with. And once we cleared and released that phobia, all of a sudden she could then see into the spirit world. She started seeing spirits. And I thought, that's interesting. You know, opening up the flow opened her up to gifts that she didn't really know she had. When I probed her even more, I said, did you know you had these gifts? And she said, yes. I knew I had the gifts, but I was afraid. I was afraid of them. And so I squashed them. I shoved them back down deep inside because I didn't want to be having these frightening experiences of seeing dead people. I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to go through that. And so she opted out by squashing and stifling the energy that wanted to be expressed through her. Her gifts really wanted to come to the surface, but she wasn't allowing it. And so that was her way of getting out of it. And so if you are avoiding something that wants to be manifest in your body, either a gift or a talent or an experience that wants to come through you, and you're resisting that, it can cause anxiety. Let's see, did we miss any? Are you getting something out of this? Does it distract you from seeing something you don't want to see? Does it get you out of situations? Yeah, that's exactly what I just explained. What would be the downside to not having anxiety anymore? Think about that. How is this a crutch to you? What would you then be responsible for? What would you have to do then? Okay. Awareness, guys, is your greatest tool for change. So what I want to do today is teach you a little bit about how to sense what you have stored or swallowed or trapped in your body. We're going to practice feeling where you've put it, and then tomorrow I'm going to teach you some tools to help you release this and let it go. You guys up for that? We got, how much time do we have? We're almost at the hour mark. I really don't want to go much farther into the hour, but I do want to teach you this one way to start to feel where have you stored this in your body. I'm also going to be posting some things below this video into the chat box to give you a few more things that we did not get to cover in the video. So be sure to come back and watch for some of those updates as they come through. Hey, Pauletta has a question or a statement. I'm just now getting on here, so we'll have to rewatch. Yeah, you will. Definitely go rewatch. We just covered a lot of really powerful stuff. I took you through the handout that I gave you and just kind of explained how that works. Now what we're going to be doing, let me flip my camera around here. Hey guys, now what we're going to be doing is I'm going to teach you how to find this stuff in your body. So everybody on here, I'm going to teach you how to center yourself first. And all you do is just picture a beam of light going through the center of your body from the top of your head all the way down through the perfect center of you, all the way down to the base of the spine. Okay? It can even go down through the legs and out the feet. That line is called your midline. And so you'll notice that when you start thinking about that line, you stop breathing. So let's start breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Nice and gentle breaths. In through the nose, take in all the oxygen that you need. Breathe out through the mouth. Let go of what you don't. Now, I want you to think about that beam of light, your midline, the center line that goes through the center of your body. Think about it about the level of the heart. Think about being inside of your body at the level of the heart, and breathe. Remember to breathe. And just drop your shoulders on the exhale. Breathe out all the tension. You might want to roll your head around on your neck to breathe out all that stiffness, tightness, tension. Breathe it out. Let it go. Breathing in. When you breathe in through your nose, take in all the oxygen that you need. When you breathe out through your mouth, let it all go. You guys keep the breath moving, okay? Nice and fluid, but very consistent. So breathe in all the way to the top. Breathe out. Let it all go. And you can actually think of the word release. Release when you breathe out. Okay? We're getting you centered. This is the first step. So take all of your attention and your awareness and drop down that center midline all the way to the base of the spine. See if you can go all the way down to the bottom of the spine, the tailbone, if you will. Get into your hips. And you're looking for the feeling. It's more than just thinking about it. I want you to discover what is the feeling when I'm there. When my whole presence is there, deep down, rooted in the body, deep inside the body. Breathe in, breathe out, release. And take your awareness and drop down to the base of the spine. Okay, now keep that breath going. The last step to centering yourself is, number one, you're going to breathe, always. Number two, you're going to hold attention at the base of the spine. Number three, you're going to soften the muscles. You're going to release and soften tension so that you're not holding on to any tension anymore in the body. Can you do those three things? Number one, take awareness and go inside. Number two, breathe and soften. Number three, release. Let it go. And number four, we're looking for the feeling of expanding out, that expanded feeling. So what would it feel like then? Use your imagination, drop down to the base of the spine and breathe. And now notice from the base of the spine, breathing and softening, what would it feel like if every time you breathed out, your being just expanded and spread out? To help you get there, we're going to start by getting deep into our bodies. So everybody raise your hands above your head and just push. On the breath out, push, push. Think about pushing the energy down through the feet and under the floor. Do it again. taking your attention and going down into your hips and your legs and your feet as you push down. Do one more of those. Push down under your feet. And this time, holding your attention under the feet, we're going to spread out. This time, breathe in. Push in front of you. This time, we're going to push to the sides. Feel yourself anchored at the base of the spine and the hips and pushing out with every breath. In front of you, below you, behind you, above you. Whew. Almost like you're this little ball of light that's going, boof, it's spreading out. Use the breath to get that feeling. Okay. I know you guys are busy deep in this exercise, but if you have a second, type into the chat box, what does that feel like to be in your body, expanded out, and softened? Those three things. Be in the body, spread out, soften. And you got to use the breath to get you there. The deeper you breathe, the deeper you'll go. What does it feel like? Give me some adjectives. Just kind of describe for me in one word or in one phrase. How does that feel different than you felt before? Drop down to the base of the spine. Breathe, soften, and release. It feels foggy. That's an interesting description. That doesn't always happen. Usually people start feeling relaxed, peaceful, calm. If you're feeling foggy, Pauletta, that means we have some healing work to do, you and I. There's some blockages that's preventing you from really getting into that center. And so we definitely need to do that. Feels lighter, more anchored. I took a 10-year-old boy through this process one time who had like a form of Asperger's or autism and ADD. And I said, how does that feel to you now in your body? And he said, feels like home. It just feels like home. It was the first time he'd ever felt so calm and relaxed in the body. Karen says it feels big in the chest. Okay, good. So expand it out. See if you can drop that feeling all the way down into the hips and the legs and the feet. The deeper into your body you go, the safer you are when you process this stuff. It's the safest place for you to be when you're processing emotion, or when you're picking up on other people's emotions, or when you're picking up on energetic information from that spirit dimension. The safest place for you to be is dropped down to the base of the spine and spread out. Get in your body, deep in your body. Be in there. Take all of your awareness, all of your attention, just be in at the base of the spine. Get into your hips. Get into your legs, drop down to your feet, and breathe and soften. What that will do is several things. Number one, it will center you and put you in a calm, more stable space. Number two, it will also induce automatic releasing. You're already releasing stuff that's not serving you. Whew. Melanie says, what you're talking about is how I felt when I'm outside in the sun, away from my home, free. Ooh, that's a good word, free. That's the word I would drop into the chat box. I can't feel it now. I can't get past my eyes. Okay. Melanie, what I want you to do, don't drop down that line. Just go immediately to the base of the spine. Get into your hips. Or think about being under your feet. If you have a hard time thinking about being under your feet, put a pencil or a pen or a stone or a rock under your feet to remind you to put your attention there. It matters where your attention goes. Energy flows where thought goes. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold this week. Gina says, funny, I just thought of a butterfly. Go look that up, okay? Type into your Google chat box, what is the symbolic meaning of a butterfly, okay? There's a reason why when you get centered and relaxed and into this peaceful state, there's a reason why these images and metaphors come to you a lot more freely and a lot more easily. And so please go look that up. There's something there for you. Melanie, all I can think about is my eyes. Okay, so that's probably where the blockage is for you. The eyes tend to have to do with your identity, how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself. It also, the eyes, this is the third eye area. The eyes have to do with intuition and inner vision and insight. So there may be a little bit of a blockage there. You and I probably need to do a little bit more deep work to clear and release that blockage. But let's do this. Let me take you guys through a clearing exercise, and let's see if Melanie, if we can clear and release that. And who else had foggy? It was Pauletta. Okay, let's see, Pauletta and Melanie, if we can change that, okay? So what I want you to do now is take all of your attention and drop down into your body and just think about your tailbone. Don't think about your eyes. You get to decide where your thought goes. You're the only one in charge of that. So think about your tailbone or think about the bottoms of your feet. Breathe and soften. I'm going to take you through, we're going to use breath. There's a ton of different breaths that we can engage in to help jet the pipes or to clear and release whatever's stuck and in your way. So before we get to that point, everybody else who's on here who feels really light and fluffy, I'm going to have you create a not so good feeling in your body. So I want you to think about the last time you felt one of the really powerful symptoms to your anxiety. You might have to check back in with your list. Maybe it was a horrible night's sleep. Maybe it was a panic attack in the heart. Maybe you were feeling shortness of breath. Maybe you were feeling total panic, impending doom, worry, fear, whatever it was. Think back of the most recent one that you had, a trigger that you had when you had an attack of anxiety come on. And as you think about that time, maybe it was yesterday, maybe it was a year ago, but as you think about that experience of what you were experiencing, where do you feel the discomfort of that in your body? Where do you feel the discomfort in your body? You might have a tightness or a closing off here. You might feel tight in the chest. You might feel pain in your leg. You might feel something up in the face. Okay, so depending on where it shows up, it's telling you a story as to what this is about. Face. That was, whose was it? I think it was Melanie. That was Melanie. So stuff going on in the eyes and in the face. That has to do with your identity. So how is this affecting how you see yourself? Pauletta's is in the heart. Okay. Okay, so just notice where you feel. Somebody else has got it in the neck or the throat. I'm feeling lots coming up in the back of the neck and like a tightness, a closing off in the throat. And then somebody has some in the lower ribs, in the back, between the shoulder blades. So notice where you feel it. We're going to engage in a breath now. What we've just done was we centered you first, and now we've created awareness. Where are you storing this stuff in your body? For some, it's up here. For some, it's here. For some, it's in the heart. You notice where's the discomfort in your own body. We're going to engage in a series of breaths. They're short, quick inhales. They go... You're going to do 4 of those, actually. I did 3. But you'll do 4 quick, short, sucking in through the nose, and then 1 long exhale out through the mouth, like you're blowing out your birthday candles. I'm going to have you do 4 rounds of this breath. Left side of stomach, good. Okay, 4 rounds of these. Here we go. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go. Again. Drop your shoulders. Last one. Now regulate and normalize your breath. Go back to normal breath, but big breaths. Like take in all the oxygen you need, breathe out what you don't, and release. Again, take in what you need, breathe out what you don't. Drop your shoulders. You might rotate your neck, your head, I mean. I'm clearing a lot out of my lungs right now from a chest cold that I'm getting over. So I'm feeling it come out of the chest and the throat. You guys might feel the energy coming out somewhere else. Keep breathing. Don't stop breathing. Don't hold your breath. Take your attention and go down into your body all the way to the base of the spine. Do not leave the base of the spine. Do not leave. Good. Stomach and relief now. Good job, Gina. Thank you. Anybody else feeling relief now as a result of using just this one simple breath? Okay. Give me some feedback if you will. I'm just going to check my notes to see if there's anything else I wanted to cover with you guys. Center, breathe, soften, and release. So that breath is just a way to encourage any blockages of energy that are stuck in your body to open up, expand, and jet the pipes, okay? Also, the breath that I taught you, breathing up and then breathing down. When you breathe out, just release. Feels good. Yes, relief. Stomach was still in knots. Now stomach was in knots. Now relief. Good. Thanks, guys, for giving me your feedback. Good job. It looks like what we did was we cleared one of your triggers. You may have multiples. So now your homework assignment is to step back in your life and watch and notice. How am I triggered now? How is this different? What is different? How is my body accepting this change in frequency? So what we did, number one, we centered you. We put you in a safe place. Centering is basically taking your awareness and your attention and going inside of your body. It's the safest place for you to be when you process stuff. That's centering. We also taught you how to expand your energy out. You know, a lot of people think they should constrict and do a zip up and restrict and kind of clamp it down. No, when you clamp down on your energy, you're going to seal it shut. You've got to expand it out in order to be able to release and process and transform at the quantum level. That's what quantum is. It's going beyond the cellular level into the metaphysical parts of the body, which is energy. Okay. We talked about triggers. You guys are going to definitely need to write down, what are your triggers? What do you think is triggering you? And you know what? I can't tell you what that is. It's your job to discern for yourself. You're probably going to have thoughts and impressions and feelings about it anyways. As you scroll through that list of 10 things, you may have 2 or 3 things on that list that might all kind of be playing on each other. So Cheryl has a headache. Currently, you have a headache, Cheryl? Okay, so what we can do before I let you go is we're going to do one last release technique, and I call it 2-pointing. So Cheryl, you can try this at home when we get done. I don't know if I have enough. Well, let's see. Let's just see what's possible, okay? So what I want you to do is take this finger, the fire finger on both hands, and lightly touch any 2 points on your body. It can be anywhere. It can be legs, it can be your big toe, and it can be the top of your head. Find 2 points. I don't care where they are. Okay? Everybody else, you can do this too. This is a great way to release pain, but it's also a great way to release anxiety. So now what I want you to do is I just want you to notice the gap between these 2 dots. Take all of your attention and go down to the base of the spine, but be aware that there is a gap here. There's a space between here and here. This is point A, this is point B. Just notice that weird space between the dots. And now very, very slowly, whenever you're ready, as soon as you've put awareness there, you're good to go. Now you can just slowly allow for those two dots to just morph into one single imaginary speck. I've just dropped my hands and relaxed them in my lap. Palms are up. And now you've got the idea. There's one little speck. Those dots kind of merged together and they became one little dot in front of you, a little teeny tiny speck. As soon as you've got that little speck, I want you to drop it. Release it. Drop it. Just almost like you dropped a stone into a pool of water. Who decides whether that stone gets let go from the grasp of your hands? It's you. Drop it. Let it go. Once you let it go, I want you to take all your attention and your awareness and drop down to the base of the spine again and breathe. Drop your shoulders, roll your head around on your neck, open up space for that energy to flow and the blood flow to open up. A little bit of a pinch going on in the neck. It feels kind of tight. So we're going to do it again. Find 2 more spots, 2 more dots. As soon as you release, when you drop it, you're going to take your awareness and drop down inside your body below the heart to the base of the spine and breathe. Okay, that's an important step because you're releasing. So find 2 more points. Here we go. Ready? Take all your awareness and your attention and go down deep into the base of the spine. Deep inside your body. Good. Breathe and soften. Be in your body. Get down into your hips at the base of the spine. But at the same time, notice this gap. The distance between suffering lies in the distance between 2 points. So, let me reiterate. The distance between 2 points is always suffering. And what that means is, here I am at point A, I want to be at point B in my life, right? In your life experiences. I'm here, but I want to be over here. That gap that lives between the 2 points is discomfort. It doesn't feel good to not be where you want to be, right? So what we're doing is we're retraining the subconscious mind to be aware of that gap. Where is the gap for you? Now, very slowly, allow for the 2 dots to morph and merge into one single little teeny tiny speck in front of you. As soon as you've got that speck, drop it. Drop down. Take your awareness down below the heart and breathe. Breathe out all the gunk. Whenever I drop into the hips, I have intense pressure and pain in the third eye area. Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thought. In Kundalini, they do believe that the base of the spine is a portal into that spirit dimension. And the third eye is also a portal into that 4th dimension, the spirit dimension. Both places are a portal. The reason I take you to the base of the spine is because it is the root chakra. It's all about safety, stability, and security. We want to get you deep into your body because that's the safest place for you to be. If you go up into the head to process this, all kinds of crazy things could happen, so we don't want to do that. I want you to maintain your awareness at the base of the spine as we continue doing these 2 points. Now, you can also do breathing, Cheryl, if the pain in your head is intense. I recommend you do this. Go lie down somewhere where you can get completely calm and relaxed, where you can tell every muscle in your face, in your eyes, in your ears, in your jaw, your shoulders, your back, and your neck. You can absolutely breathe and soften all those muscles intentionally. You might have to come back to some because they'll tighten up again. Okay? Lie down and breathe up and down your body for an hour. Up and down, up and down, up and down. You can also do the 2 pointing. That's a little faster. But breathe, soften, hold your awareness at the base of the spine. Do not leave. For the entire hour, do not leave the base of the spine. And just breathe up and down the body. When you breathe up, it's like an upside down waterfall going up and out the head. When you breathe out, it's like that waterfall going down and through the feet and into the floor. So Cheryl, that's what I recommend for you to relieve the pressure in your head. You know, sometimes when you have severe migraine headaches like this, it can be that your body is signaling that it wants to awaken. It wants a spiritual awakening. It wants these energy channels and systems and vortexes to open up. It wants you to be less logical and less in the brain and more in your intuitive self. And so you may have to lie down and breathe and soften until that opens up a little more and releases, but you've got to start at the base of the spine. Do not go up into your head. Get out of your head, get into your body, start at the base of the spine, and breathe and soften as you hold awareness there the whole time. If you have to do it for an hour, do it for an hour, and an awakening will happen. When I first started to learn quantum healing, I had an experience like that where I could not shake this headache. I could not get it to go away. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go into my room and I'm going to process this. And even if it kills me, I'm going to keep my attention at the base of the spine, even if I die doing it. And I kept my attention there and my focus at the base of the spine the whole time. And if it wandered, I brought it right back. And if it wandered away, I brought it right back. It was like this puppy that wanted to run away. And I was like, nope, you're staying here. Or a toddler, nope, you're coming. You're going to sit right here. And I kept my attention at the base of the spine for an hour while I breathed in and out, up and down, softening, releasing, clearing at the same time. And at the end of that hour, all of a sudden I felt this pop in my head. I sat up and I sneezed 15 times. You think about how many sneezes that is. It's a lot. I was dizzy when I was done and confused, like what the heck just happened? I felt a pop in the top of my head and I sneezed out of my nose. And then all of a sudden this rushing and this flowing of energy. Do you guys ever feel that rushing feeling when energy is flowing through your body or through your head between the ears? I was feeling that from the bottoms of my feet up and out through the tops of my head. And what followed that flowing sensation, I just kept breathing, was absolute, utter bliss. I don't even know how to explain it. It was an absolute blissful, the most amazing feeling I've ever felt in my body. I had to go outside and jump on the trampoline for a while just to get all that energy out of me. Hey, Carlene, what about stuck cramp? Almost like labor pain, feeling in the low back. Oh, that's you I'm picking up on. I was feeling this pain in my low back and pelvis. Cannot get that release of tension. It's too intense. Same thing for you. Go lie down for an hour. Keep your attention at the base of the spine. Breathe and soften. You can do the 2 pointing if you'd like. Just keep doing the 2 pointing over and over if you want to do that while you're breathing. What you do with 2 pointing is point A, point B. Feel the gap. Become aware of that distance between the two. And then allow them to morph into one single teeny tiny little speck in front of you and drop it. As soon as you drop it, you're going to go back into your body and just breathe down, 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 holding your attention at the base of the spine. Do not leave the base of the spine. That is the most critical part. If your awareness is at the base of the spine and you're breathing and softening, you are releasing. Cheryl, I want you to come back on here and type into the chat box after this video is over whether or not you were able to get that to clear and release. Okay? And Carlene, will you do the same thing, please? That's your homework assignment. Everybody else, please look for triggers. This is your assignment. We'll do more tomorrow. Look for the triggers. Identify with how you feel like you might possibly be being triggered. I'm going to teach you over the course of the next 5 days 3 different approaches for those different kinds of triggers. So if it's food that's triggering you, there's going to be a different approach for that as opposed to if you feel like you're being attacked by energetic beings. Okay? So if you're being attacked, that's going to take a different approach. There are 3 total approaches that I'll be giving you guys. The first one is coming up tomorrow morning. That's where we're going to go. But for right now, I want you to get used to getting into your body, feeling the sensation in your body as to where did I put this? Where is the trigger? And where is it hiding in my body? Carlene says, thank you. I'll have to re-watch that part. The device died. Oh, okay. That's okay. Come back and then put something in the comment box. Let me know whether or not you got a handle on that. If you still need help, I may have to connect with you one-on-one. So we'll talk about that at a later date. Okay, you guys, I've gone a little bit over on my time. It's actually, oh, no, I didn't. I was going to go an hour and a half on this class. It is exactly 1:27. We have 3 minutes. So what could we talk about in 3 minutes? Let me recap. How about we do that? Let's just recap. The first thing that I taught you was how to center yourself. Get into your body and spread out. You'll notice that when you start centering yourself, you stop breathing. So add the breath. And then the third component to centering yourself is look for the feeling. It's not about your thinking process. It's about how does this experience feel to me in my body. The second thing that I want you to do when this video is over is go back over your trigger list of those 10 things, those 10 items, and figure out where you think the triggers might be affecting you the most. Okay, which ones do you think are contributing to your specific, unique symptoms of anxiety? Once you've done that, then you're going to go looking for those sensations in your body. Does that make sense? Where in your body are you storing either the cord or the connection to a dark being? Where in your body are you storing an emotional or mental blockage from a past memory or a past trauma? Where in your body are you storing even energetic stuff that's caused from poor eating, poor diet, poor exposure to electromagnetic frequencies? Where are you storing the energy? All of it is energy. Parasites are energy, food is energy, feelings and beliefs and thoughts and ideas and beings are all energy. So what we're doing is we're looking for where that energy lives in you. We're going to put awareness on it and call it out. I'll teach you more tools tomorrow. Be here right at noon. We'll go live right at noon. It'll probably go anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half again. And this video will stay up for only 24 hours. So tell all your friends to come watch it before tomorrow at noon, because then it will be gone. It'll be taken down. I will probably give you one more handout in the form of a PDF, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I want to keep this very simple. So go back through, rewatch, take some notes, write some things down that really resonated with you today, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Hey, you know what? It was fun to hang out with you guys. I really, really, really was. I enjoyed it. Carlene says, thank you. I'll rewatch. Gina says, deep grief. And don't want to go there. Ooh. So if you don't want to go there, then you're probably going to carry that around till the end of time. And I get what you're saying to me, Gina. I really do. You may need some one-on-one coaching with me in order to get to the root of that. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to bring it up. It's not talk therapy. We're just finding the energy. That's all we're doing. We're finding the energy. And then we're going to transform it and release it. Where's the best place to pick up or amplify energy when doing this? That is an awesome question. I'm going to address that tomorrow. Okay, Kim? Thank you. I love that question. Where is the best place to pick up or amplify energy when doing this? Well, the safest place for you to be when you're processing and amplifying energy is inside your body. To change the frequency of the energy, I think that's what you're asking me. To change that frequency, you're going to be engaging in these tools that I'll be teaching you. 2-pointing will change the frequency. Breathing will change the frequency. Tomorrow, I'll give you 2 more tools that will help you to amplify and raise the frequency so that you go from feeling not good to feeling good. Because that's how you can tell when the energy has been released and processed. Awesome. Do you do anything about the EMFs in your home? Any kind of physical shielding? You know what? I don't do anything about the microwaves or the cell phones or the EMFs. I train my body to be strong in the presence of all this technology, because it's almost to the point where we can't escape the technology that's around us anymore. So all you can do is train your body to deal with it and be strong in the presence of it. So that's what I do. Physical shielding, no. You know, a lot of people who do energy healing do physical shielding. They do something called a zip up, and it never really resonated with me to do it that way. Some people do it that way and they get good results. I'm not here to diss on that or knock on it, but for me personally, I noticed that being inside the body, spread out, expanded out, is the safest place for you to be when processing stuff. Especially when you're around EMFs. If you're standing in front of a microwave or you're holding a cell phone, your body will probably test weak. If I muscle tested you, you would test weak unless I put you into this quantum state, which is being centered, dropped down into the body, breathing and softening. If I put you into that centered state, which is called quantum, you would test strong to that stuff. So that's what we do. I don't really do physical shielding. I don't. It's not something that really resonated with me because I feel like you're a more powerful being when you are, see, like this light? When you become like the sunlight, the sun doesn't zip up, the sun doesn't clamp down, the sun is exposed, and it is spread out and it goes all the way out into infinity. Those tendrils of light go out into infinity. And so that's where I take you. The more spread out you are, the less this energy can get clamped down and stuck in you. Does that make sense? So that's why we process it this way. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. We are right at 1:34, so we're about 4 minutes over. Thanks, guys. Go watch the replay. You've got it for up to 24 hours. So again, this is over $1,000 course that I'm offering you guys in 5 days. So there's a lot of information that you're going to need to process over the next 24 hours. And I just want to get it out there. I want to see what's possible to affect some really powerful change in you guys and see what we can accomplish together. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. See you at noon. Bye.